Almost a year ago, in a podcast with Nadir Ali, the British Pakistani actor Alyy Khan gave a very interesting insider that these kids happened to work in a workshop before starting this film, and they were working in this workshop for 1 year. So he judged this way, that if after 1 year in the workshop they are still not performing up to the expectations, then damnation on them. He is absolutely right. Hey everyone, the Dark Knaik is here. A young group of friends in Riverdale High School take stand to save Green Park, the heart of the town Riverdale. The Archies is based on the characters created and published by Archie comics. The film is directed by Zoya Akhtar, who herself is fan of Archie comics. Archie comics has a special place in my heart because it was neither DC nor Marvel that developed interest for comic books for me. It was Archie comics. Back in 1992, when I was 6 years old, I with my family traveled to Bombay to meet relatives, and once it occurred that at some bookshop, my family gave me the first comic book of my life, and that was Don't Laugh. It was Betty and Veronica. I have that copy. Yeah, this one. Yes. 1992, issue number 58. And yeah, issue number 58, Digest Magazine, Betty and Veronica. So this is how my interest for comic book began. I can show you some pages. It's not in excellent condition due to the fact that it is now 31, 32 years old book. So this is how it used to be. See? So I happen to watch Archies because I find it interesting that someone in Bollywood decided to transform the Archies in a setup in India. Archie Comics is remembered for its golden run that started from the early 1940s until the late 1950s. These characters and their Riverdale cannot fit in any other era at all. If you apply Archies in 80s, 90s or 2000 or beyond, I don't think they will fit. It will look dragged. It's just my opinion. Setting Archie comics in India was also difficult. I say that Zoya Akhtar has done a huge favor by setting the storyline in the Anglo-Indian community based in India of the 1960s. There can be no question over the production and costume designing at all. The architectures, color tone, and the camera technique really brings that time back. The detailing in the film is meticulous. Remember, the story is set in the year 1964. And I noticed the newspaper that Archie's father is reading has the year 1964. And if you carefully observe, there are two headlines in the newspaper. One is about the reforms in Nepal and cyclone in India. And believe it or not, both events actually occurred that year. Another point, Archie asked the tourists if they ever heard Beatles 5 years ago. So the year is 1964 and he questions about the existence of Beatle in 1959. Music lovers, stay with me on this. The Beatles was formed in Liverpool in 1960 and in 1963 the first studio albums were released. But it was 1964 when the Beatles gained international stardom. Historical accuracy. Another good reason for setting the story in the 1960s is because of the rebellious element in the plot. When the developers decide to destroy the legacy of Riverdale and build hotel by destroying the Green Park, the young ones take stand, sign petitions across the community, protest, and perform for more votes. Now that is the most 1960s thing that one can remember. Making this film a teen musical was the only way to run it. The music and tracks really lived up to that time period. Excel Entertainment's most trusted musical team, Shankar Ehsaan Loy, were well supported by Ankur Tiwari, The Islanders, and Dot. A couple of scenes were well shot. I love that scene where Archie and Betty kiss, and after the kissing, They close and hang in their doors and touch their lips and then leave on the opposite directions at the same instant when the camera is moving out. I like the corporate angle that folds the Riverdale society. Zoya showed how the community is affected by the decisions. People and their emotions are bought by the rich. You get the capitalistic vibes in the bookshops and salon. Pretty sure everyone was waiting for this, so time to talk about the casting of the film. The teaser of the film that was released last year sparked outrage among the netizens and Bollywood buffs due to sense of nepotism, as 3 of the 7 kids belong to major film families. And after the release of the film, the netizens and Bollywood buffs showed no mercy to note down how badly the star kids performed on the silver screen. Someday I will speak about Bollywood and nepotism, but in brief, the criticism is harsh because people need to understand that nepotism is one of the main roots that defines the film industry. These kids have made their debuts, but their acting career in the future will run only if the audience accepts them. It is the audience who decide the fate of their careers. It is the audience who pass or fail them. How often do we see people like Fardeen Khan, Imran Khan, Tushar Kapoor, Vivek Oberoi? These guys, you don't see them more often now. But this guy is not giving up. Archie, Veronica and Betty. The 3 main leads of this film are Agastya Nanda, the grandson of Amitabh Bachchan, Suhana Khan, the daughter of Shah Rukh Khan, and Khushi Kapoor, the daughter of Sridevi. Almost a year ago, in a podcast with Nadir Ali, the British Pakistani actor Alyy Khan gave a very interesting insider that these kids happened to work in a workshop before starting this film, and they were working in this workshop for 1 year. So he judged this way, that if after 1 year in the workshop they are still not performing up to the expectations, then damnation on them. He is absolutely right. Because none of the 7 kids actually performed. They were extremely bad. Their dialogue deliveries, their facial expressions, the body language, they failed everywhere, despite the fact that Zoya Akhtar was on the director chair. The fun fact is that the supporting actors are really good actors. I'm unsure if the kids were instructed to perform like that, despite 1 year at the workshop. 1 year at the workshop. It's crazy. How can you be so bad after 1 year at the workshop? Particularly Suhana. Suhana's performance was extremely messed up. I don't know what was she doing, because I have watched that girl years ago in a short film which is called The Grey Part of Blue. You will be surprised, and you will be surprised at her execution in 2 different projects. I'm sending you the link of Grey Part of Blue. Check in the description. But viewers, again, time will tell. Look at the history of Bollywood. So many star kids were awful on their debut, but they became outstanding actors. So you may never know. These bad performances may be their learning lesson, and some of them may become highly successful actors in the coming years. The Archies, with all the impressive technicalities and the music, is halted to crafting the film into excellence for one major reason, and that is the leading cast. The Archies depends on the Archies more than the pluses I mentioned before. The era of rock and roll and miniskirts dashed by the obviousness and predictability. If the spine is broken, it leads to paralysis. A factory that is ready to manufacture the best possible products with best available resources, but failing to deliver the required results due to weak labor force. I'm Naik.